Oh, yeah. Oh. Thanks for that report, Seymour. Was it me or was that a really bad glare coming off of Bill's head on that interview? Anyway, back to the games. Cats with Guns led the league in scoring for a second time and were the only team to break 100 in a very low-scoring week as they blew out the Monkeys 144-88. The Cats put 6 into double digits, led again by Michael Turner with 30 on 104 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Favre and Gore each had 24 points. TJ Hujamama finally woke up and scored 22. The Falcons D had 18, and Anthony Fasano, everybody's favorite Paisan, had 12, including a touchdown thrown by Ronnie Brown. Speaking of Ronnie Brown, I guess that inside info in Miami kind of dried up as Brown was left on the Cats bench with 43 points. The Monkeys climbed back into their cages this week after their spanking. They did, however, place 4 in double digits, led by LT's 20 on his first 2 touchdowns of the year coming in week 3. LT off to a slow start. The Cats needed that win to stay 1 game behind the Pilot Lights, who moved to 3-0 with a 93-54 win over Big Daddy. The Lights had 4 in double digits, led by Breeze with 28 on 421 yards passing and a TD. MB3 had 21 on 142 yards rushing and a TD. McGahee finally saw some action and turned in 13 points, and Nate Kading had 12, including 6 extra points for the Chargers in that win over the Jets. For Big Daddy, it just keeps getting worse. 3 went into double digits, but he was once again at the top of the bench scoring. Okay, technically he was second highest in bench scoring, but the highest bench scorer went to Cats with Guns. And you know what? He scored 144 points with his regular guy, so I'll give him a pass. Big Daddy left 83 points on the bench this week, enough to beat 7 other teams, and instead he gets the big donut in the win column. The Pitons dealt the Loose Cannons their first loss of the season as the Bradyless Pitons won 93-56. 4 players reached double digits for the 1-2 Pitons. Julius Jones had 22 on 140 and a touchdown. Forte continues to roll and posted 20 points this week. The Jags D and Greg Jennings each had 13. The Cannons had 3 in double digits, including half of his points by, you guessed it, Packers. Football's A-Rod had 18. Crosby had 10, and oh, you know what? There was a Steven Jackson sighting in St. Louis. He turned in 128 yards from scrimmage for 12 points. Way to go, Stevie! As I mentioned earlier, it was a low-scoring week, and these next 2 games are prime examples. First, we have Master Killer breaking into the win column with a 74-63 decision over Sheboygan Headbangers. Master Killer saw 3 players reach double digits. Cutler and Adai each had 20, and Robbie Gould had 10. The Headbangers had 2 in double digits. Lynch had 23, and Kerry Collins had 14. Speaking of Kerry Collins, do you realize that his passing yards in this game put him 15th all-time in passing yards with over 35,000 yards? Kerry frickin' Collins. 35,000 yards. Let that settle in your dome for a second. For the losers, they also watched the Philly D dismantle the Steelers and score 33 points while sitting on the bench, while their Patriots D scored the big squadouche versus the Finns as the starter. Both teams are 1-2 in the Stewie division. And last again are the Rockers, who, as history will show, find a way to win while scoring almost no points at all. This week it was Simon doing something he has never done before, and that is lose to the Rockers. Simon's 2-year domination of the Rockers is over in a 72-65 loss. The Rockers only had 2 in double digits in the win, with Brandon Marshall going off again this week for 27 points. And in the coaching move of the century, Rowdy White turned in a 19-point game starting for the benched Braylon Edwards. Everyone will be glad to know that my boy Big Ben got a -1 point in this one. Thank you, Big Ben. To go along that -1, 3 turnovers in that game as well. Simon had 3 players in double digits, led by LJ's 20. McNabb and the Dallas D each had 11. So let's take a look ahead now at some upcoming matchups as we start our NFL bye weeks and also our Peanut Butter Jelly Time League interdivisional play schedule. Topping the schedule, we have the annual White Bowl with the 3-0 Pilot Lights taking on the 1-2 Chili Dogs. This series is tied at 1 game apiece, going back 2 years, with the Dogs winning last year and the Pilot Lights winning in 2006. The other 3-0 team puts its record on the line in the 211th Street Showdown as Mr. Bill's gang takes on the 2-1 Clash City Rockers. Rockers won this matchup last year. Mr. Bill looking for revenge. The only winless team has an uphill battle as Big Daddy tries to stay out of the way of the 2-1 Loose Cannons. The Cats will try to continue their point barrage against Master Killer, and 4 of the 6 losers from last week will play, and someone's got to win one of those games. Quick look at the Pick'em update. Rockers, Pittons, and Headbangers all went 4-2 last week to catch up with the Chili Dogs. All 4 teams now have 10 right after 3 weeks, and a 1-game lead over the Pilot Lights. The Cats and the Monkeys are at 8 wins, and pulling up the rear is Big Daddy. But at least he picked him again. So remember, Big Daddy, make your picks this week, even though you're out in some East Bumfuck, South Dakota or something. Ooh, said a bad word. Okay, so that does it for Week 3's review. I hope you enjoyed it. Things are looking a little bit better from our end. And next week, we've got construction going on here at Peanut Butter Jelly Time headquarters with the framing of the basement. So hopefully we'll find some time to squeeze in between the studs to get a little bit of Week 4 review. So that's it from Peanut Butter Jelly Time headquarters. Have a great week, and I'll see you later.